Hi, this is J.J. McKeever for Common Sense. Today's piece is a little different. I want to talk about literacy and specifically how it affects children. I've run into so many people lately who say they do not like to read. In young people, this translates into trouble navigating their way through school. For adults, it makes it hard in doing their job or going out and getting a better one. While it is true some people have learning disabilities that make reading difficult, for many people it comes down to not being exposed to books at an early age. I'm not talking about when you're in elementary school and you have to read. I'm talking about when a child is much younger and starting to explore the world. A good rule of thumb is if you are starting to say no to your child, it's time to begin reading to him or her. Now, this is not a paid endorsement, but I recently came across a series of stories that I found enchanting. They are called the Dr. Jim stories, which takes the reader, whether an adult or child, into the wonderful world of a veterinarian with a magical stethoscope. He uses it to hear what the animals are saying. Conceived and written by Scott Nichol and beautifully illustrated by David Youngblood, these stories go back to the innocence and fun of the Dr. Seuss books I had when I was a kid. Now, you can find Dr. Jim on Amazon, and he has his own Facebook page. For parents and grandparents, you have to remember that children are born with an insatiable curiosity. That curiosity can be channeled into a love for the written word, as easily as for TV shows or video games, if you harness it early. The others are easier to do because you sit them in front of a television or computer screen or a tablet and let them do their thing. And as parents, we all do that from time to time out of desperation. But nothing beats the bonding of an adult and child like having them on your lap and reading to them. Books like Dr. Jim brings a world to life. A young one may focus on the pictures in the beginning, but his or her little brain comprehends the shapes and sounds of the words that are on the page. Almost like magic, you'll find that boy or girl taking that book and going through it on their own. Reading the Dr. Jim story sent me in my own Wayback Machine. Okay, for those of you who understood that, I did watch Rocky and Bullwinkle a lot as a kid. Now, thanks to my mom and dad, I discovered very young the fun of reading. Besides Dr. Jim, there are many books still out there like Dr. Seuss or Curious George, and many others that can fire a youngster's imagination. The benefits from reading early are too numerous to mention. By no means do I think I'm exceptional in this regard, but for me, reading early made everything easier in life for me. Maybe during school there were certain subjects I did not care for, but doing the reading on them was easy at least. I cannot imagine what it would be like if I had to study something I hated, and I also had a hard time just reading through the material. That carried over into the adult working world about so much on many different topics. It still goes on for me. Reading is still one of the best ways for me to relax, whether I am reading fiction or trying to learn more about something that interests me. So, if you're looking for something good to start you and your child out on, please give Dr. Jim a try. And remember, kids love to imitate their parents. Reading to kids and them seeing you read your book is going to condition them that this is a pretty cool thing to do. We can provide our children with food, clothing, shelter, education, money, all that good stuff. But the joy of reading is something that will serve them well long after we are gone.